All right. Okay. That was Gavin Wood's presentation. And then there was another big angle that was fairly interesting at the Web3 Summit. And that was the hackathon on the whole Kusama season coming up. So last year at the Web3 Summit, there was a hackathon and I saw people hacking there. But I think there was a very interesting shift in energy this year where it was a lot about Kusama. And I just want to guide you through this because this was a really interesting energy and it felt like there is a Kusama season coming up. So I'm going to recap you a little bit on this. Kusama is the sister network of Polkadot. It has the same underlying technological base. In most cases, the updates are first deployed to Kusama before they go to Polkadot. So it's an innovation network. It's a network to try out things. And it's also where you can meet a smaller subset of the Polkadot community and where you can meet the developers and the hackers and the people that like to be a little bit underground, right? And it was launched roughly at the same time with Polkadot. I think initially it had a little bit of a recruitment problem. Everything was new in Polkadot. Kusama was new, Polkadot was new, Parachains was new, everything was new. And to be able to hack around and to play around, you need either a lot of people trying out the technology, or you need to have people and then you need to have people trickling over that are already having so much experience in the base ecosystem that they can spend some time in Kusama and playing around with everyone here, right? And I think the time was not yet right for Kusama in this sense that it was sustainable. So there was a little bit of a slowdown. But everything was revitalized in December when Sean Tabrizi came out with this forum post and he said, make Kusama chaotic again. And so he shared a few ideas of how Kusama can get a new start with a focus on privacy, with a focus on its hacker culture, where things are decentralized, self-sovereign, where you can just play around with things, bring CK primitives to Kusama, and have just bring in a lot of ideas of these privacy-preserving technologies. So this was a start of a conversation, and then the Web3 Foundation came in, and they again confirmed this, that there will be 10 million DOT provided by the Web3 Foundation as capital for grants, for funding, for ideas, for experiments, everything that has to do with privacy-preserving technology and the use of CK. So there was just this news article coming out. And then to lay the base one more time, the spammening last year was done on Kusama. So it was showing the capability of how much Polkadot is able to do, but it did that on Kusama because on Kusama, it was easily possible to rent 23 cores, so 23% of the capacity of the network, and then just run full-blown tests on them, see how much transactions per second you can get through. And this spammening actually showed that the network was able to sustain 143,000 transactions per second at 23% capacity. And what that means is that if you calculate it, you could get to 620,000 transactions per second. That was before we had a lot of network optimizations. So already, I think some developers have told me they already deployed network optimizations that should allow the throughput to roughly double. So in theory, we already have 1 million transactions per second. And then we will get NOMPed, which is another optimization for storage on the blockchain, which should also 10x this, right? So in theory, I mean, you always have to see how things play out in practice. But from just the improvements that we have right now, we should see a theoretical improvement of 20x, going to beyond 10 million transactions per second. Let's see what reality brings. Also, let's see what Jam brings. But then with Jam, you would get another 3x, 3.4x. So too much. Let's see what the reality brings. Okay, so this is the baseline of what we see in Kusama. And now we see this heightened activity where small experiments start taking place. So one big part of that is the RFP launcher, which allows you to make proposals on what new things should be tried out on Kusama. It's fairly new. And we already see that there is two interesting proposals. One, shielded Kusama hub transfers. So you can think technologies that allow you to mix tokens, like Tornado Cash was fairly known, but basically privacy-preserving applications that allow you to have transfers where the recipient and the sender are shielded. So there was a little bit of a specification here, and then there was already submissions, and I think there is a test version of this live on Paseo. if I'm correctly informed. And then the second RFP that we saw is Kusama App, which is sort of a gateway for newcomers to the ecosystem. And I think we actually saw this with the latest hackathon. So now let me get to the story of the Web3 Summit. This hackathon had a really good vibe and energy. It was, of course, organized by Web0, and they have become a household name in organizing interesting events, interesting hackathons. And yeah, it was a 3-day hackathon with really good vibes. So they have this Blockspäte, which is sort of this bar, cafe, I don't know, chill out area, where you have drinks, where you have food every day, and then people are just hanging out, and these people are hacking 24/7. And so the interesting thing this year, there was $100,000 in prizes. This is not even true anymore. It was over $100,000 in prizes at the end. There was an additional commitment, and it was possible to build on all of those things. So there was Sheyun from Hyperbridge was there, the UX bounty was there, the marketing bounty was there, people from Inc., Kusama Polkadot. So there was a lot of our senior people there and actually supporting the people that were hacking. And I had so many interesting conversations at the hackathon. And then there was just the Polkadot main track, $20,000 in prizes. There was the Kusama main track with $40,000 in prizes. And one of the subtracks was to use zero knowledge, to use cryptography. And so this was insane because you saw people that are just coming, bringing their CK primitives and building something in 2-3 days, which for me is new. They use noir, the noir framework, and this was just crazy. And then they built things like anonymous voting and OpenGov, and they built a prototype in 2 days. One task was do experiments with proof of personhood, and then there was art and social experiments, which was a very broad category. So you didn't even need to be super technical. And yeah, in total, $100,000 in prizes. And I think the milestone structure was also very interesting, because the milestone structure here was the hackathon counts as milestone 1, and then you have some additional ideas for milestone 2 and how you want to extend and how you want to follow up on what you present at the end of the hackathon. And so half of the prize money, if I understood correctly, is paid out if you deliver milestone 2. So it's a really nice incentive to, first of all, do something for the hackathon, but then you might also want to continue and actually finish this thing, right? And so the idea is to have a funnel and to get people in, and then once they're in the whole thing, they can familiarize themselves more with what's going on Polkadot, develop a social community, etc., and move on from there. Okay, and this whole thing was accompanied by Kusama CK Day. So there was a whole half day just dedicated to CK and what you can build with Kusama and CK. So there was briefings, CK versus T's. We talked, there was talks about Noir, Sync, which I like as a name. And so again, it had this flavor of, okay, everything is well-rounded, everything is focused on making Kusama and CK work together. And it was just really cool to meet all the hackers, what they had going on. There is this nice picture from the closing ceremony, and the room was fairly packed at the ceremony. There was still space, but it was actually very big. And yeah, so this is the first one that we saw. This actually from Crane. He built a whale monitor. He vibe coded this. And this is a tool that allows you to watch transfers going on from the bigger accounts on Polkadot and mapping it all out. And it was just cool to watch Crane build this. We have what we have here is submitting CK anonymous reporting on what is going on in governance. So very interesting in terms of maybe considering future commenting, auditing whistleblower platforms, and get some accountability, like improving accountability in OpenGov. We had what is this? Yeah. This is basically, I think, cross-chain transfers or something like that. Sorry. And then yeah, this one, of course. So this was Kusama Hub. This was intended, and maybe this is alluding to the Kusama app RFP here. I'm not sure, but this is Kusama Hub. So the idea here is that you can get an overview about what are the apps that are actually provided in Kusama right now, and you see it all on one website, which makes the discoverability easy and allows people to like go to one place and see everything that's going on. Memos. Memo self using CK proofs generated from your passkey. Yeah. Yeah, lots of interesting thing. Polkadot, this one was what I was looking for. So this allows you to provide CK proofs for how you voted. And yeah, that's it. There was a lot more going on, but I think it shows that there is an actual CK season, Kusama season going on.